What's up, guys? A lot of y'all requested that I actually take a look and make a video on Gen 2 hacks and oh, can't believe you missed this hack, when really the focus of the video was simply to cover the evolution of Gen 3 Johto hacks and how there's so many and ask the question why are there so many. But yeah, a lot of people wanted some Gen 2 hacks covered, and so I'm like, fuck it, let's just take a look at the long history of Gen 2 ROM hacks. If this video interests you or you like the last video, drop a like, drop a sub, it really motivates me. Now this is interesting because there was a portion of my life where I was kinda in the Gen 2 scene and like a little tapped in but not fully tapped in to the point where I knew everything. So in this video I did a lot of research and actually just got the hacks that I thought were the most significant over time. So if we're gonna start from the beginning, it's probably gonna be in about 2000. So I noticed there was two kinds of Gen 2 hacks that I noticed were the most popular. Number one, really unambitious, small enhancement hacks. A lot of these enhancement hacks at the time were just fixing small things, the major things in Johto that are kind of wrong with it, people are very quick to point out. And the other kind of hack that was online was the kind of ambitious, new region, new story hack that went absolutely nowhere. In 2003, where we're going to start everything, this is going to be the start of the timeline. Pokemon Ice won the Poke Community Hack of the Year and never even released a beta or an alpha or any sort of release whatsoever. I don't really know how that happens, but I guess people were just hyped for it and it looked good and blah blah blah, all this stuff. So for my research, there wasn't a bunch of crazy hacks that kind of released in this period. In 2009, Skeetendo was a form that was basically a Game Boy and Game Boy Color Pokemon ROM hacking scene. This is when it was created and honestly was kind of the basis of the community for quite a long time. This is the place where GBC hackers were. They were kind of isolated from the Gen 3 hackers, which was a way more popular scene at the time. And from my experience as like a young teenager that was doing Gen 2 ROM hacking, the people in Skeetendo definitely seemed a bit more older and grown and were nostalgic for games that came out before I was born, to be honest. So with Skeetendo, we got Pokemon Christmas by Luna/Mateo, creator of Red++. This was like a small little wintry themed hack. It's pretty cute. Kind of like an enhancement hack with like a kind of aesthetic change. I don't think this was the most popular hack at the time, but it was definitely like something that people actually, played and talked about a little bit. But 2010 was the start of probably, I would say, like more ambitious hacks. Pokemon Dark Energy is a hack of silver, which is pretty unusual for the time. A lot of hacks were gold and crystal. By Mixie91. This was like a dope ass Finnish dude. He made a bunch of tutorials. He was really cool at the time, in my opinion. Anyways, Mixie91 made Pokemon Dark Energy. This is a more JRPG / plot focused hack. Gyms are there, but they're not really the main goal. It's an unfinished hack. It was kind of an ambitious one. It had some betas that went pretty far, but unfortunately, this is one of those hacks that didn't really end up getting completed in a roundabout way. Pretty unfortunate because this hack looks super dope and I always hoped that this guy would keep making stuff and making YouTube videos and hacks and all that stuff. 2012 had some notable steps forward. We got Touhoumon Ordinary Version by Gemini Rage. I don't really have much to say about this hack. You're looking at it right now, but this kind of hack was kind of a little popular gimmick back in the day. Now there's a lot of gimmicks that are focused on difficulty, but back then there was a lot of gimmicks that were just focused on having fun. 2012 also had Pokemon Bronze by Frico. This was the Pokemon Gold hack with a new region and all that stuff. I think it had a few fake mon. This was, I think, one of the first new region Gen 2 hacks that actually went somewhere. And speaking of going somewhere, 4 years later, Pokemon Bronze 2 by Frico. I played the original Pokemon Bronze and I never played Pokemon Bronze 2, but these are both pretty well received hacks back in the day. I don't think they're super popular now because they didn't do anything crazy, but they were showing that you can do something with the Gen 2 engine. The oldest hack that's super relevant today, I would say, is in 2014, Pokemon Crystal Kaizo by Sinister Hooded Figure. This is easily the hardest hack on this entire list, this entire video. I'm probably showing footage of Crystal Kaizo Plus, which was a fan-made kind of community-based thing for Pokemon Challenges community led by Luopmail, I think is how you say this guy's name. This is how it's played today. Really cool to see like a community kind of attach themselves to an older hack and revamp it for like the tryhard Nuzlocke community of today. So we just covered a hack that is pretty relevant today. Let's talk about one that completely isn't. Pokemon Naturia by Chamber in 2014 was a very graphically beautiful hack. It was sometimes called Pokemon Naturia XY. There's a lot of XY Pokemon and Pokemon from later regions. This hack was pretty popular back in the day on YouTube, but is very buggy and pretty much considered unplayable by most people nowadays. I don't really know why this hack was so popular on YouTube. It wasn't a new region, it just had some later gen Pokemon. But it was something that I think I haven't heard talked about in a super long time, but it was something back in the day, I guess. In 2015, we got Pokemon Pyrite by Crystal. This is a very well received and respected difficulty and enhancement hack. Crystal was like a Smogon player who was hella good at competitive Pokemon. So the way this hack was made is actually a really cool transition into the next part of the GSC hacking scene. So this hack is different because it used binary hacking and the disassembly. So binary hacking is pretty much when you just hack the game's direct file. You're using hexadecimal editors, you're using these random junky fucking tools that people used to use back in the day. It was pretty unstable and so much could go wrong. But the disassembly, which at this point in 2015 started to become usable, is basically a recreation of the original source code for the game. You can edit it in a text editor and pretty much debug way more easy and have a cleaner game way easier on the disassembly. It's also just easier to do and way more stable. If you're editing the game directly, there's like 20 million things that can go wrong. I'm someone that's done it, by the way. I really wish I didn't when I do my ROM hacks, but yeah. The disassembly was pretty much a 20 times cleaner way of making a ROM hack. The name of the disassembly was Crystal. You're looking right at it. So Pokemon Polished Crystal by Rengi is still going strong. I did not realize that this hack was made in 2016. There's a regular and faithful release for Pokemon changes if you want to, play old school, new school. When I was downloading it and playing a bit of it, it was very similar to my hack by Pokemon Fire Red hack, Pokemon Fire Red Deluxe. It basically just tries to improve it in every way. And it's obviously way better than my hack, I'm not going to pretend it isn't, but it used a very similar philosophy to my hack, and so I have a lot of respect for this game. I'm not sure if this game was made for Twitch-based Pokemon, but Pokemon Anniversary Crystal is a crystal hack that you start in Kanto and have a new story and AI with. This one was made in 2016, and I have not heard about it for a bit, but people do like this game. Speaking of a well-liked game, Pokemon Prism in 2016 by Coolboyman and the Rainbow devs. This is considered one of the best ROM hacks ever. It was kind of like ceased and desisted, but it still survived anyways. This is one of the best GSC hacks and one of the best Pokemon ROM hacks ever, period. It's kind of on its own level that a few of these games on here are, but some of them are not. This is just a very well polished, well received, well done, well everything executed game that a lot of people love. Pokemon Coral was a beautiful looking hack that, from what I know, is pretty unfinished by Coral Dev. This is one of the first hacks that totally openly used Crystal that I think actually went somewhere. This hack might eventually be finished. I think it's getting ported to a new engine or something like that. I don't know. I wish Coral Dev the best of luck. This is a really cool game. Pokemon Orange by Paya Carrot was actually pretty similar to what I just said. It was Hack of the Year on Poke Community in 2017, and Pokemon Orange Island Walker is kind of like the little sequel, report of code, all that stuff. I think these old Crystal hacks are kind of just redoing themselves in a cleaner way. A very well done Orange Islands hack, looks beautiful. I love the GBC games that just look amazing. So simple yet so amazing looking. Then in 2017 we also got Pokemon Crystal Clear by Shock Slayer. I would say this and Prism are widely considered some of the two best GBC hacks. It's basically an open world Gen 2 hack with a shitload of polish, a shitload of care, a shitload of good design. I hope to make a video about it soon, but this is a hack definitely worth checking out. This hack is able to be played in 2 million different ways. It's really cool. You can Nuzlocke it, you can not Nuzlocke it. You can open world it up. You can do whatever you want. You can basically fight any gym leader in any order and then do the league and then do the gyms and then the league again. Or you can do 16 gyms in the Nuzlocke mode and then the league and then, yeah, I don't know. This hack is freaking crazy. I think it does have some flaws that kind of make it not a perfect hack, but it's a very, very, very well done hack. It's crazy good. So we have another very big event. In 2018, the Pokemon Spaceworld demo got leaked. So for those who do not know, in 1997 in Japan, there was a very early beta of Pokemon Gold and Silver with all these Pokemon that didn't make the final cut. This is kind of like a lost media, very in the past, very kind of obscure thing that happened. It's basically a very different game than what we actually got released. It had all these weird different Pokemon designs, and a lot of them that did not even make the cut at all. It was a super unique game that, was kind of just thought to be lost of time. There was like some video I saw it was a really good video back in the day, like maybe like 2015 about it, that I have no idea who made it, honestly. And then in 2018, someone just raw leaked the ROM and all the data. So by dumping the ROM, the community got all of these unfinished Pokemon and everything. The region was completely different. All these Pokemon are different. The designs of trainers and everything is just different. So this was a huge thing because, even though this isn't like a fully playable ROM, it's kind of just like a thing that exists. This was basis for a lot of ROM hacks that were proceeding to come after. So in 2018, Pokemon Spaceworld Crystal by the Shadow Knight was released. It's kind of just like current Johto with all the old Pokemon. This was a big step forward, actually being able to get a playable game with all these cool Pokemon that didn't make the cut was a big step. But an even bigger step, I would say, was in 2020 Pokemon Super Gold 97 by Level 3. This hack was basically trying to fully imagine the Space World demo as if it was fully released. Another version of this game exists called Pokemon Gold and Silver 97 Reforged by Rule. There's some pros and cons to Super Gold 97 versus Gold and Silver 97. You can look those up if you want. I'm sure some people online have something to say about that. But this was a really cool hack for showing what the Space World demo could have been if it was a full game. Another dope-ass ROM hack that came out in 2020 was Pokemon Fool's Gold by Celadonk. This was a hack that kind of just like redesigned existing Pokemon and varied up the overworld. It basically like retyped or redesigned all these Pokemon, and it's kind of like playing Pokemon for the first time again because all these things are just not shown, and whoa, this Pokemon's a different type. I'm gonna have to guess what type this is based off the color of the Pokemon, all that stuff. This is one of the most unique ROM hacks I've ever seen, actually. One of the hacks I think is the dopest is Pokemon Black and White 3 Genesis by Azure Keys in 2021. It's a full-blown remake of the Unova region, but it's a sequel to Pokemon Black and White 2. So this is kind of like what every hack wants to be. A really ambitious, really well executed like port of something else, but also kind of a retelling and reimagining at the same time. This is kind of just proof that a really amazing ROM hack can come out of the blue, to be honest. This is one of the craziest hacks I've seen. In 2022, Pokemon Johto Legends by Ferrec Pelexelar, I don't know how to say his name, I'm really sorry, came out. This is a story-based prequel taking place in Johto 15 years before the events of GSC. It has future generation Pokemon and different patches for different mechanics you want. This is kind of a hack that's considered by some to be kind of underrated. I don't see a Poke community thread for it, which is unlike a lot of hacks, but it's one of those hacks that, just straight up does stuff differently. Pokemon Crystal Legacy by Smith Blaze Pokemon is something you might have heard of because it's that dude that talks about, oh, Falconer only has a Pidgey and Pidgeotto, and gets like 500k views off it. It was released in 2023. It seemed like he actually put a ton of care into it, which is really cool. Cool to see a YouTuber do that. It's a hack where the full thought process is straight up just on YouTube. The dude monetizes the shit out of it. Good for him, man. And in 2024, Pokemon Emerald Seaglass by Nemo622 was released. This is just straight up not a GSC hack, it's not a Gen 2 hack, it's a hack of Emerald. But I'm including it because it takes very, very heavy inspiration from the Johto graphical style. I'm also going to put it in the thumbnail shamelessly. But yeah, this is a very popular hack that I see a lot of people like and rave about. Personally, I think the graphical style is kind of weird, but like who gives a fuck what I think. And lastly, we got Pokemon Crooked Crystal. This takes a very unique approach to the enhancement hack. It basically is a goofy hack, which, edits dialogue, has a new story about, Professor Elm's gambling debt, all that stuff. I think it's really cool that, you're doing an enhancement hack. Why not just change the story and make it funny? Why not try to get a laugh out of the player? This is something I didn't really think about, but it's kind of genius, actually. I've seen this in those Crizzle games, like the Pokemon Cops and the Pokemon Outlaw, where they have like a really ridiculous story, but I've not really seen it much on enhancement hacks. So I think this is a really cool idea that's kind of like just trying something new, And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for showing love on the first video, engaging with the conversation. I had a lot of fun making this video. I had a lot of fun researching this video. I just love to learn about useless internet stuff. If I forgot a hack or messed something up, let me know in the Reddit thread, which will be in the description or in the comments. Thank you for watching my video, and peace.